Accessor
Sure.
and that engineering firm, the Crane Engineering, they're working to create ponds, parks, natural trailways, and yet using the area for to keep the flooding from happening.
Correct.
Because once when Cigarro and that area built, they all had paved streets, and that caused the flooding because the water couldn't go anywhere. It would just roll before the earth would suck it down, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what the drainage district does.
Okay. What else do you have? What else do you see? What else do you foresee
Well,
in the county in concerns wise?
well, there's a lot of concern in the county, the way this court is handling, especially elected officials. Department heads, they have to bow and do whatever the court says because that's their boss, you know. But I think the mistreatment of the judges, I can understand if you say
Yes.
there have too many people, you know, but work with them, you know. But they closed down some programs that
Like
were
what?
good. Well, for the drug people are on drugs and they're working out, getting out of it. They're stopping some of those programs, is what I understand, that were helpful for the poor people who can't afford to go to a detox place. Okay, can't send them to special places to help them get off drugs. This was geared for a lot of the people in the lower echelon, and that's going away on October 1st.
Why is that? What do you think? What's the reasoning behind that? Because when we live in the border,
Right.
and every city in the United States has a drug problem, but we see it a lot more because of the border.
Right.
And we have that
I mean,
that trade, that unfortunately that illegal trade that's through here all the time. But we need programs. I'm more of a proactive, let's stop it before, preventative type
Right,
of person.
right.
You know, let's get our kids off the street, let's start getting them into programs, and nobody seems to care. Nobody.
well,
And you talk to every single one of them, and they're kind of
one
like,
of those programs was Chilo Alanis, the DA's, and he's losing the program.
but
Another
these
one,
are for folks that were already on drugs doing that.
yeah, they're helping them. Yeah, they're trying to get them off.
Right,
Right,
they're trying to
right.
get them off. And we need program, like I tell them, we need
Before.
program before that. You know, we need to get the kids off of that because
Yeah.
all of a sudden you're going to see them in drugs.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
But so so when you remove programs like you're saying from the person that's already addicted and you get them, what are we talking about? Well, where are those guys going to go? They're going to go into thievery. They're going to go into crime.
Right.
They're going to go back to jail. I mean, what are we doing? I mean, what's their rationale?
I don't think they've given a very good reason other than, you know, we're trying to save money. We're cutting on personnel, which is what's happening. People are going to lose their job. And I think they're just looking at bottom line and, you know, some people don't think government should be the one helping, but sometimes that is the only resort. You know, there's no one else to help out. Unless you're fortunate to have money that you can afford programs, you know, or even to prevent, where they send them to camps and all that, where they teach them, you know.
Maybe the rationale is trying to fill up the new jail.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, because you know now the jail, they have another 125 million for a new jail, something like that.
I think it started in 95, something. Yeah.
I mean, I don't.
Well, something has to be done with the jail. I mean, this was built in the 80s.
80s, yeah.
Okay? So it's almost going on 40 years. So definitely some technology is there that we can't use in this old jail. I don't know. Maybe do an addition on the parking lot. You know, at one time, there were when they were designing the Justice Center, the parking was supposed to go across to where the jail was. So that parking lot that the deputies used was going to be there, but also high-rise.
Right.
It was going to come in from Convent all the way over. Okay?
What happened?
Well, money. The one issue was money. Then they say, well, maybe we'll build another addition to the jail on that half, and then later do the parking. But none of that ever came to pass. So
So now we're getting a new jail. Okay, fine. But then I don't understand it because then they say we don't have crime, but then we want another jail. And so it's kind of one doesn't beat the other. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We don't have crime. We don't have an influx of crime from Mexico, but we need a new jail. And you know what I'm saying?
I didn't know there was no crime, but okay.
You know,
who's saying that? PD or
yeah.
what?
But folks along in the law enforcement, they, here's
Well,
it's hunky dory. Nothing happens. You know.
well, I don't know about no crime.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's the whole thing. Or we don't have as bad of violence of crimes that we have. You know, that's always their issue. But then we're building a new jail. I mean, to me, I think they should.
Well,
This is my opinion. I think they should privatize the whole thing
Well, that's already there.
and have them build
But
it
I
somewhere
think
else.
one of the private companies is closing down.
Geo.
That's I had heard. I don't know who, but supposedly one of those two is closing. So I mean, so I don't know. Maybe Obama let out a lot of people out of jail, so there's plenty of room. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're. I don't know. It's just to me, I'm more. If you have a person that's in drugs, let's help them out. Let's get them off of drugs if we can. Okay.
Yeah.
That's my main thing. Let's help them out. But once you put somebody into jail,
Yeah.
then you make them a better criminal in most cases. They come out better.
Unfortunately, that's
You
true.
know what I'm saying?
That's
So they're
proven
going
to be correct.
They're not going to go from not having drugs because we've been proven that our jail has drugs.
Well,
And-
but one of the issues with the jail is because there's so many different kinds of groups of cartel or whatever you want to call it.
Gangs.
Yeah, you can't put them in the same floor. So you have to separate them, and that's one of the issues in this jail. Okay, that you have to separate one group, Miami, from something, the Gulf or whatever, whoever's here. That you can't keep them on the same floor. They can't go and eat at the same time. There's many of those issues that we have, and
I look at all that penal system, and it's number one is everything they have on the outside, they have on the inside, and for free. Understand what I'm saying? I mean, they get free food.
oh yeah,
They get free lodging.
mm-hmm.
They
Medical.
got drugs. They got
They
medical.
have all the medical that
You know,
they
so
need.
they have everything that they have. And in the real world, at least they have to work for it.
Yeah.
But here, tan gratis. So they just do a little circle. They get out, and you see the same guy go up, and all of a sudden, boom, otra vez va para adentro. So if we get a young kid that is in drugs and we throw him into that circle, well, he's going to become part of that circle. So get that young kid and get him some help. And guess what? You know what? There's some guys that are walking over in Saudi Arabia protecting our flag. Let's go clean yourself up. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I'm more of that type of person. You know what? Get some boots on there, polish them up.
Well, statistics does show that you put in a young kid into jail first timer and they come out very knowledgeable in many areas.
Yeah, man. All of a sudden, big time,
So it's true. The statistics shows that, but it's a vicious cycle. It's what it is.
And it's sad what you just said to me, that they're stopping these programs for that. To me is to me is just like, what are you guys trying to do, really?
And what's going to happen? What are those people that are using those programs to help them get off? It's going to lead them only to what? And the opioid or whatever you pronounce it. I mean, that's got to be here too. A lot of that. So,
I mean,
and we may not talk about it like New Hampshire does and all those other states, but it's got to be here too. There's too many drugs available.
That's
and if
true.
you want to buy medicine, you can just go across the river and buy whatever kind of medicine you need. So it's there.
It's to me, drugs is a business that has been used throughout. Because if it wasn't for drugs and it wasn't for the folks going in the criminal element of drugs, we wouldn't be paying for a lot of these prosecutors that are in there, these public defenders that are in there, these deputies that are taking care of jails, and these privatized jails. So it's more like, guess what? Let's sell more drugs, make more jails to make more business.
I guess
You
could
know
say,
what I'm saying?
yeah.
That's
But
my,
it's
that's
a
my point of view.
cycle. It's a cycle, you know, because then you need to protect society from that element, you know, that are stealing, killing, you know, raping. You know, there's so much out there that, and I don't mean just Laredo. I mean,
No. It's
throughout
it's
the United States,
throughout,
you know?
it's throughout the world, but it's throughout the United States is what really concerns.
Well,
And let's change a little bit.
Sure.
You know, that's not.
Yeah,
neither
it's
you
too
nor
depressing.
Neither you nor I are
gonna
be able to
solve
solve
it.
it.
No,
So,
no.
you know, and what else do you see in the county
well,
besides that they've stopped? Because that was.
well, that and the discounts, I think it's going to have an impact. But I see the county continuing to grow.
Sure.
I find it strange that only in Mercurio's first term was there a real deficit. I mean, and he went and he visited all the elected officials, and he sat down with them. I need your help. He couldn't tell. Now, this was an emergency, and the only time in budget time that you can take positions away from elected officials is in an emergency. He had an emergency. It was a proven $5 million deficit. But he went and he talked to all the elected officials. How can you help me? And I would attend all those meetings. I mean, I was going to all those meetings. And one by one they went up, I'm going to have this vacancy. They froze for all the department heads that were under the commissioner's court. If somebody left, resigned or whatever, that position was not going to be filled. They put a freeze. But on elected officials, they couldn't. And yet they could, because it was a real deficit. But he went and spoke to every elected official, and each one of them said, I've got this vacancy, I'm going to freeze it, and I'm going to hold everything, everyone. And he asked, can you cut your operating expenses
Right.
by 10%? And they did. They did, okay? This court, in the first emergency that we had, they just took positions. And then, I don't know how, they created 2 departments. Hello,
What
we're in a
departments
deficit. What are you doing opening departments?
What departments are those?
Well, the one that they've opened up and have been filling positions, how I don't understand. But they have the business department. The business
What's
department.
the business department for? What's it
Well,
do?
they're like the pre-auditor. You go to them with your bills, what requests for purchases or whatever. You take it to them. They review it. Oh, okay, yeah, you have the money. Yeah, it's a good. We agree to that. But then you take it to the purchaser, and from there it goes to the auditor. They're like pre-auditor, which is totally illegal. Okay, the only one.
It's an illegal entity.
I believe it is, because what are they going to say? No, you can't buy that, and yet.
Then over here,
The
they said
only,
yes.
but only the audit. No, by then, ya no puedes seguir. They stopped it. They stopped whatever you were going to buy. That's not their. The only one who can do that is the auditor. So they're trying to do the work of the auditor. Now, we all know they don't like the auditor. I mean, you
And
know,
who's the auditor now?
Leo Flores.
Is he still there?
Yeah, he'll be there, I think, till the end of at least till October, I think. But, so they created this department. So you're thinking, they took away 4 positions from me, and everybody's thinking how many positions they lost. And
Now-
you're thinking, and you went and created a department. This is like saying, I lost my job, but you know what? I'm going to go buy a new car. I don't know how I'm going to pay it, but I'm going to go buy a new car. This is what you're saying. Okay? So if you're saying we have a deficit, what the heck are you doing creating 2 departments and filling one up?
And the other one is what?
I forget what it is, because I haven't heard of it again. But they created 2 at that budget. Now, mind you, we had a budget last year. I don't know if they're going to do the same thing this year.
And what are the names of the last names of the employees that are there?
The what? Oh, I don't know. I don't know them. I don't know. You know, my staff knows who they are. I don't. But anyway, I lost my train of thought, man. Anyway, so here we are. We have this new department, and now I think they're supposed to be up to 10. They're right now about maybe 6 people or 5 people.
In that new department.
Yeah, but we had a deficit. Now, when we were going through the budget work, we didn't know what anybody else was doing. I mean, I'm giving away. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. Oh, I'll collect scofflaw. Well, I didn't. Once the budget came out and we knew the truth of everything, I said, what the heck? I'm going to put more pressure on my employees collecting scofflaw? We're not doing the scofflaw. I lost four, so I don't have the personnel to do the scofflaw and everything else we do. We do passports in 2007. We do judicial collection. No, passports was 2008. No, 2007, November. Judicial collection was April of 2007. So we've added 2 departments, you know,
And
besides
over the years,
whatever,
right.
yeah, besides what we do and we continue doing, you know. I think we are the #1 in all of Laredo for passports. Not even the district clerk does what I do. Okay, they send a little package to me about that thick. We send packages with 15. That's the max we can put in a package. I mean, we're averaging about, on a slow day, about 31. On a heavy day, we do up to 75 to 90. You know, so, and that's usually in the summer. But anyway, to me, that whole budget was an illegal budget because they went and presented something at the county clerk, and then they amended the proposed budget. Nowhere in the law books, the local government code, does it say that you can amend the proposed budget. Whatever you amend, that is your budget. So they kept everybody blind. Nobody knew what was going on. So now Mercurio Martinez and that court, that was a true deficit. But they acted wisely, and they didn't antagonize other elected officials. They didn't antagonize or frighten the department heads. They're all fearful. They're fearful. One guy quit after the raid. He was afraid they were going to go and raid him because it was a federal program. Because he hired one of the commissioner's brothers.
Well, he hired in that nepotism?
Well, of course it is. But you're being told and you need your job. What are you going to do? As a matter of fact, that's how I started my whole story here with Judy Gutierrez, nepotism. Anyway, that's another story.
But, you know, you see, that's what happens. And it's a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame. It's a shame that occurs, that those threats that we have for several of the public officials that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Those, the small businesses that do not put a certain sign, they'll go do that. Both the city and the county, they'll go either blackball the business or whatnot. That's why we're in the mess that we're in.
I agree.
And hopefully we have a new type of voter that's out there that's a little bit, that's no longer going with, you know what, you threatened my uncle, my father, my this, you know what, we're going to vote the other way. And we have that new guy that just came back, did time, and not served time as a prisoner, served time deployed somewhere else, and he says, you know what, no, I'm going to vote my way.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not going to vote your
I almost
way.
gave my life.
You know what I'm saying? You're not going to come here and threaten me.
I want real freedom.
You know, and
well, we went and fought in those other countries for
you know,
it.
that's a type of voter that I'm seeing now, especially with the Commons. They're no longer flying the colors that you have to, like it was 10 years ago, 15 years ago. It's a total different thing.
I think social media has a lot to do with it. I think the technology that you can get a lot of information that before it was you had to go only to one place.
Right.
Like when I was doing my budget fight, I could only,
go to one place. Now you can find
after I did all that, they started charging. Thank God I got it all for free.
You know,
so anyway.
So they cut stuff down. What of those budgets did they cut down? Did they cut down security boys, or did they cut down police officers?
I don't know that they cut from the sheriff, but they didn't allow him to get more people. You know, basically that, especially with everything going on, especially on the border, the drugs and all that. You know, that was not. He wasn't provided more staff last year. I lost 4 positions, but again, I go. This is I've never seen anything like it. The animal is not there. It's like, I need to go to work, but do I really want to go to work? The insurance issue, they fired basically Cynthia Mares because of the insurance issue. That it was always going up and it wasn't controlled. Well, this year we're now told it's going to go up, what, $5 million more? Or eight. I think it's $8 million. And not a bad, no, I was batting, no, how dare this new person, you didn't control the insurance? Well, it was what Cynthia was always saying, Ms. Mares. We have an aging population on employees, and, you know, once they get aging, you start with different illnesses, different symptoms, and you got to go see the doctors, you know. And sometimes, I mean, we've had people with cancer, and thank God they've come back, but the treatments were costly. So all of that, the insurance went up. So to blame one person, you know, I know there were other issues, but the main reason last year in 2016 was the insurance cost.
Right.
You know, so it's hard, and hopefully we'll, you know, things will get better.
Hopefully either they stop listening to whoever they're listening to,
or whatever agendas they have. I really believe there's agendas that are coming out of this court. And now, last year, it was the loss of revenue on the oil and minerals. This year, it's the insurance. But that's always been an issue, the insurance.
The insurance has always been there.
The only way the Commissioner's Court can get into an elected official's budget is with an emergency. So I foresee next year there'll be another deficit. Or there'll be another emergency that's going to create that court to continue taking positions away from elected officials, only to give them to other departments. You know. Now they did, I think what they're taking away from the 406 and the 341st, I think, or
didn't they take away bailiffs?
Yeah, they took away people, 2 or 3 from each court, from OJ and from Becky Palomo, but they're giving to the district clerk and county clerk. So they just moved from one side. So where was the savings? I mean, you know, if you're taking away, you're taking away. If you're saying we have a deficit, we have problems, then do it. But don't shadow it over here and say, you have too many. Oh, let me give them to you. Where is it, you know? So to me, 2 emergencies in 2 years, that's one too many. The last emergency we had was in 1993. And now, lo and behold, 2015, 2016, we have emergencies. I don't believe it. Now I don't believe it. At the time, I believed them, you know. I mean, I went in there and gave up, you know.
But now what you've seen, you don't believe it.
No. And that's why the DA and the judges, they're seeing other things going on. Okay, and it all goes back to, I think, to the auditor. It's agenda driven, and it's payback time.
It's a personal issue.
Personal, yeah, because they didn't indict him. So you, Mr. DA, didn't do your job, and you guys didn't fire him because they're the ones who hire and fire the auditor. So it is an agenda driven. It is driven because they have a hate for one individual, and everyone's taking it because of them. And that's bad government.
And that
is not
government.
Yes, it is. Because you know, I used to think I want millionaires in government because they can't be bought. The flip side of it is they can do whatever they want, and they don't need you because they can go and give money away to buy the votes or to encourage you to vote for them. That's the flip side of millionaires. Now I want regular folks who have at least some kind of, you know,
they have number one, you need somebody who has common sense and a conscience.
Right, conscience. That's the most important, and that you're not vindictive. This is vindictive driven.
You see, that's what I see in Webb County and Laredo. It's vindictive. You do not vote for somebody, they're going to come after you here. I've seen it. We did it in our school. We didn't go with somebody else. We had police officers outside stopping my students.
When I first got elected,
it was ridiculous.
They didn't vote for me. Yep. They were voting for their boss.
Of
And you
course.
know what? I told him, thank you. I hope the next time I run, you vote for me.
Yeah, you gave
You
them
know,
the 100%.
you were right. You support your boss.
Exactly
You know?
right.
I didn't go and fire people and do that.
And
It's not in my nature.
And it goes through the whole thing. I mean, if you really, seriously, and I know you have some staff here, and I'm not talking bad about them, but if you really want to clean the whole thing, fire everybody, apply everybody, you guess what? On December 25th, adios, turn in your application, we rehire you on the 1st. And
that's
you know
the
what
way
I'm
it used to
saying?
be.
And-
Elected officials, before civil service, elected officials would say, turn in,
reapply, and we'll get it going.
you're going to reapply. I've only fired one person.
And we'll see what it
In
is,
that
what's
process.
going on, and that's it. But here you have family members of family members. You go to every department, the same last name, and then you start realizing who they're all at, and you're like, "Oye, come on, párale."
Well, because the department head is told, hire my sister, hire my brother. That's what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And that guy, he left. He stayed till the end of the month, and he left town because he's afraid that he's going to be caught by the feds
It's ridiculous.
because of nepotism. But they weren't looking at nepotism. But it's one of the commissioners that's involved in all of this stuff. So,
Well, number one, thank you for all your insights.
Thank you.
And number one, it's always a joy.
Thank you.
Thank you for being there and sticking up for us.
thank you,
Number
and
one.
I'm glad I'm long-winded.
Again, once more, till next time here, gloves off. Thank
God
you.
bless you all. Thank you.